The Acolyte is canceled. Is the future of Star Wars in jeopardy? And why did The Acolyte fail with fans?
I'm a fan. I liked it. Didn't feel me. I have some feedback. Everybody has room for improvement.
So technically The Acolyte wasn't officially canceled, it just wasn't greenlit for a season 2. But with all the novels they've been writing for the High Republic, you can tell that they were intending to expand upon this new era of Star Wars that they hadn't explored yet. We're still very conflicted about this news, and we're happy you are here today to let us know your feelings about The Acolyte not continuing.
So without starting fights.
Not even lightsaber fights?
So without starting any fights amongst yourselves,
Yeah.
let us know in the comments, good or bad, what you felt about The Acolyte in a very polite manner, if you will.
Everybody has a different opinion about what you love about Star Wars, but we really want to know what you guys feel about the show because we don't know everything.
Our opinions aren't the only ones that matter, just like your individual opinion isn't the only one that matters. I think we could come together to have positive conversation about what we think the direction of Star Wars, like where it's going and what we hope for in the future.
Yeah, everything is a certain point of view, just like Obi-Wan said, so keep that in mind.
Good reference. Look at you, nerd.
Star Wars fan.
Star Wars nerd.
So at this point in time, they're not going to continue the show as we know it. Maybe they have other plans for other shows within that world at some point.
I'm disappointed that there's no season 2. I was like this morning when I read about it, I was like, thanks a lot, Rachel. Thanks a lot. I know so many people that thoroughly enjoyed The Acolyte,
Yeah.
and we were all looking forward to season 2, but it seems like the negative voices are the loudest on the internet.
It's true. And Star Wars fans are the best fans in the world. We're the most passionate fans, and you have your opinions, and some of us say it very loudly. A lot of the fans who were more positive about the show just didn't really talk about it.
We learned from the reaction to the Star Wars sequels that if you like something that the louder portion of Star Wars fans don't enjoy,
Yeah.
you're considered not a real Star Wars fan.
I know.
Which is just terrible. And usually those people are the ones that are going to shut down and not say anything. Because like for me, I'm like, I don't want to start arguing. I posted one video, one little reel saying, I like The Acolyte. And you know how many arguments got started with me in the
Yeah.
comment section?
Yeah.
All I said was I like The Acolyte, and I made like a little bound. Oh my gosh, I don't have the time or energy
No.
for arguments on the internet. I really don't.
Yeah, and if you guys are new to our channel, we are a positive place for Star Wars fans.
We're a couple shills.
We're a couple shills, as a lot of you guys would say.
No, we really are we just like to, that's just our style. We just want to stay positive.
Yeah, just kind of like in reality, you have the dark side and you have the light side. Like, we choose to focus on the light and the good and the things we love about Star Wars because I don't want the hate and that kind of, it's a gross feeling when you get so angry and upset towards this thing that you love. I don't want to feel that way about Star Wars. I know it's not
Exactly.
perfect,
Yeah.
but I love Star Wars so much. Ashley loves Star Wars so much. We love Star Wars on Always Believe, our channel. And regardless of how you feel about Star Wars, we're happy you guys are here today to join our flight crew, join our space family. We're happy you guys are here today to let us know your feelings as well.
Positive fandom community. That's all we are over here. If you don't like it, you don't have to.
That's okay.
That's fine. If you want to be a negative Nancy, not subscribe.
Not subscribe.
I'm using, this is reverse psychology.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. I was hoping it wasn't going to happen.
I really didn't think so. When we went to D23, it seemed like it wasn't going to be canceled.
I don't know what to feel about this. Is the future of Star Wars in jeopardy a little bit?
I think it has been. Like, a lot of the louder comments have generally been unhappy with the shows on Disney Plus, minus The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian has gotten some pretty good reviews.
Came out of the gate.
It came out of the
swinging,
gate
whatever.
swing. That's the phrase I'm looking for.
know.
That's the idiom I need. There was no pressure at that time for the studios to put out a TV show right away.
Yeah.
And I think after that, especially with the success of The Mandalorian, this is just my opinion and my what I think happened is now these shows, especially after COVID, after lockdown, now that, studios are reopening and with the strikes and, everything resuming, I think a lot of these studios are like, go, 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 go. We
Yeah.
need content, we need content, we need content. Like the pressure we get as YouTubers, you
Yeah.
have to come out with content all the time versus taking your time and making a movie. Even movies now have the shortest turnaround.
Yeah.
Everything has such a short turnaround
Yeah.
that there's just no time to get things perfect.
And I think that's actually, from listening to a lot of, again, the sort of negative comments about the current state of Star Wars, I feel like that's actually
been the thing that's been misinterpreted about fans who have that feeling. They just want people to take their time making these shows again and put the same amount of passion into it that they feel maybe George Lucas used to do more. Or
How long did it take for George Lucas to film A New Hope?
I mean, that took a lifetime of his, but like it was a couple of years, I forget exactly, but I could say more accurately, the prequel films, each of them took around 3 years to
3
really
years.
do. Period
Well, they
of
also
time.
had a lot of CGI.
They had a lot of CGI.
Yeah, it's one of the things like we reviewed in the D23 episode of like these practical sets happening and practical props and lightsabers and things like that the studios are doing to like let's move things along a little bit faster if we can.
Danny, oh my gosh, our cat, you guys might have just seen, he just jumped up.
That's Din Djarin.
Din Djarin, yeah, our
This is
cat's
Din.
name is Din Djarin. He's the Mandalorian. He gets into a lot of trouble.
So obviously we are currently in the process of raising the future of Star Wars.
It's true.
I'm specifically part of a community of very passionate female Star Wars fan base.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
all of them like the Acolyte, especially you could tell after our poster signature meetup. The Acolyte was a little bit more directed towards the she's, the theys, and the gays.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it was. You know, that is an audience for Star Wars. It doesn't vibe with everybody.
Yeah, and that's, I think, another thing people have been vocal about, and a lot of male fans, and also female fans, too. It's been surprising
No, I've
how
had
many-
arguments with female fans about this.
Yeah, them saying like, oh, Star Wars doesn't have female empowerment, things like that. And a lot of people are like, Princess Leia was the start of like one of the biggest female empowerments.
General
Yeah.
Leia.
General Leia, I'm sorry, General Leia now. She's not a princess anymore.
General Organa.
General Organa.
Yes.
But she was such a strong character, and guys and girls both enjoyed her and
Padme
recognized
Amidala.
that. Padme was awesome. Yeah. I mean, Jyn Erso was awesome in Rogue One.
Like, there never has been a shortage of strong female characters in Star Wars. So the question has to come up, like, why is it being pushed so hard now?
Yeah.
And why is it being viewed as being pushed so hard
I feel
now?
like a lot of them have said too, you're misinterpreting my feelings. I'm not just shouting anger and thinking Star Wars is terrible and stupid and these guys are being angry and they're toxic and they're hating on Star Wars and they're wrong. And that's not true, exactly. It's a very fine line that I want to just be positive when we talk about it
It's
because we want it
hard.
to continue. We don't want Star Wars to stop. I want to have more Star Wars.
I think the main way to go about that is to definitely voice your opinion. If there's something you don't like, then feel free to voice it. But that also doesn't mean that you need to shut down other people who have an opinion that doesn't match with yours.
Yeah.
And that's when it becomes toxic. So what is your honest opinion of that, Clay?
Well, I've always been a fan of the Jedi. I was really excited to learn more about the past with the Jedi, how everything led up to like episode 1, 2, and 3 and the fall of the Jedi. And I thought it was a very exciting premise because I'm a Knights of the Old Republic fan, like a lot of Star Wars fans. And this is something I heard somebody say online too. The way that shows have to be told now through like Netflix and streaming, you don't get the same story arc that I feel is exciting to me that Star Wars is, like a classic up and down climax that pulls you into the story. They constantly have to do these little things in a story and then hook you for the next one, and it's just all about keeping you going to the next episode. It can kind of be a little weird storytelling wise. I heard the guys on the Thank the Maker podcast talking about this because they're also musicians. They talked about that with music nowadays too. You have to hook people right from the start with your song or they're already moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I always feel like a lot of these shows, I'm like, oh, is it gonna pay out and actually have the thing that I want to happen? But then there would be cool moments that we got. The fights were phenomenal. All that stuff was great. A lot of the finale was pretty cool. There was a lot of cameo moments that were kind of cool, but also some fans were like, oh no, because I don't like the whole show and you're putting this amazing cameo of this character in there, like
Yeah.
Darth Plagueis or Yoda. You're ruining the possibility of using that character for something else now, which I actually am kind of concerned about now. They started these storylines that they're just ending, and
Yep.
current Star Wars is all about starting up the canon again and what's going to happen now. That's
Yeah, it's
what I'm
like-
concerned about.
It's just at a dead end here.
Well, what do you feel about the Acolyte? How did you feel about it?
I too was really excited. Like you could tell by our trailer reaction. Like I was really excited. I love learning about the Sith, especially, and also the witches. You
Yeah.
know, reading about them before this show came out. I was very intrigued by that kind of side of Force users, you know, that the Jedi aren't the only ones that know how to use the Force, you
Yeah.
know. The Force is all existent in a galaxy far, far away. So there's going to be other types of people that are going to be tapped into the Force.
And you point out something that I just went right over my head was that whole religious aspect of the Force and the show.
Oh yeah, it had a lot of like religious symbolism in it, which is, you know, people's view of God are going to be different, and that always causes strife. That was something I really enjoyed about this show, and I really am invested in like the Sith and the dark side because I'm always just curious. I'm just a curious person, so I'm like, okay, how did that develop? I heard this quote that like every villain is a good guy in their own story. Right? So like what's their story? Like what happened to get them to that point? But there were things about the show that I honestly didn't like.
What did you not like exactly about the show?
The things that I didn't like about the show was like I felt like there were a couple of dead episodes. That's what I call it. I don't think that's an official term, but
There's a lot of people dead in the episodes too.
there were episodes where it was just moving so slow and then there was no payoff at the end. Or it was a very like a hook and pull at the very, very end. It's like, gotta wait till next week. And then I'm like, I felt like I waited all week to watch this episode. I sat through this whole episode, which is a big investment of time for us right now,
with our baby.
being parents. And I'm like, I felt like I got no satisfaction from watching that. The other thing that I didn't like about is I didn't like the finale. I didn't feel like I got, again, like that satisfaction of things being tied up, questions being answered. It just like, it didn't have that payoff for me at the end.
Keep in mind, we only really watched the entire series like one time through.
Yeah,
but that's also fine because it's like our initial gut reactions to it. We would normally watch things more often, but again, we're parents now, and like just finding the time to sit down and watch it is like amazing.
Even to do this.
She's
napping.
Yeah, she's napping right now as we're doing this. So, did you have expectations for the show? Did you have a different point of view of what you thought the show was going to be about?
I had no idea what the show was going to be about. I like to be surprised. I'm somebody that doesn't like to spoil anything, and I like to go into things kind of blind.
Yeah.
So I didn't have like any expectations. It did come off as a vibe which felt like more like a Star Trek show to me. Like it felt very Star Trek's Next Generation. Again, like kind of like a slow pace. That's pretty simple.
That's kind of the thing that's about the shows now. It has a different feel completely from the movies. That's what I was trying to say before too. Is like I love the pacing of Star Wars, like the action. You're getting into this adventure, and it's not always like that in the shows. There's a lot of these moments of just talking and background story. But I kind of like that as a fan. There's times like I like getting these cool little backstory moments because in a movie you're moving so fast you don't have a chance to have these types of little.
That was like
situations.
After what was it? It was after Rise of Skywalker. We were like.
Yeah.
It was so much, so fast.
Yeah.
Like we both were like, I feel like we need to watch that again.
That's right.
I missed something.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. It was a lot in a very short amount of time.
It's a fine line with these shows. It's one of the biggest properties. We think the biggest franchise in the entire world. It is unfortunate when it doesn't meet our expectations. And this is something I've always kind of felt that you get promised a certain expectation of feeling that you want to have from your experience. And if you go through this journey, you get pulled along the ups and the downs and you get to the end and it doesn't give you that emotional release you're expecting. It's very kind of knife to the heart. Like in a relationship, when you like somebody and it doesn't end up that way that you expected, you are just so angry because you got pulled along emotionally. All of us want to have that emotional experience, and a lot of us kind of get denied that in our daily lives. We don't maybe have friends or relationships or the types of things that allow us to have that kind of an experience. So we get it from these movies and shows that we love so deeply. And when those shows fail us, it is like, oh, it's so painful. And I get it because I feel it too when you watch something and you're like, that did not turn out how I wanted it. Why did that happen? It's so heartbreaking, and I empathize with you guys. I get it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think people should, especially the fans, should be allowed to share their opinion. Like I just shared like what I didn't like about it, and I was really looking forward to season 2, kind of taking the feedback and then improving upon it. And so that we got more of this part of the Star Wars universe, you know, this time period that hasn't really been looked at in a cinematic way as much. But now, who knows if we'll get to explore that part of the timeline.
What we do have coming up, which is exciting, is the next show, Skeleton Crew.
Y'all better be nice to these kids.
Be nice.
I swear, Mama Bear will come after you if you guys pick on these child actors. I think it's a lot more lighthearted.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a silly, fun, good time with Star Wars in it. Anyways, we were there when they announced both of them, and I actually was more excited for Skeleton Crew.
Because we're big Stranger Things fans. Too.
Yes, and of course, Stranger Things takes from other movies, in that like 80s genre. Stranger Things has only revived that excitement in us, and so now Star Wars almost like picking up, because Stranger Things is about to end. Star Wars kind of picking up on that audience, and saying, "Oh, people like this kind of vibe. Let's go with that, but put a Star Wars twist on it." I think it's awesome.
And what you just said, how Stranger Things brought that nostalgia feelings of the 80s back that everybody loved. I hope this show kind of does that again with Star Wars and brings back, it doesn't have to be like over the head nostalgia drops, but bring that feeling back again, that joy and fun of Star Wars that people love. I think that show is going to hopefully hit that really well.
It just seems like there's not going to be a lot of expectation behind it for like anything that's going to be, messing with the timeline or intruding on the Skywalker saga, whatever it might be. It's just like, it's its own thing. Kind of like the Mandalorian, its own thing. What is it? When you don't expect anything, you're not going to be disappointed, right?
That's a good point.
But I do expect it to be good. I really do. I have high hopes. I think overall, like I like the Acolyte for, again, the symbolism that was in there, kind of really looking deeper into other Force users that exist, kind of giving a new perspective of the Jedi, which I really enjoyed, and I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, and maybe that's kind of where also it made fans feel a little icky. Like I felt a little like, oh, I don't know if I like the Jedi so much right now. They're not exactly this good holy group that you think.
People need to take some world religions classes, man. It really opens your eyes to like, everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes errors. There was one character I really liked. I really liked Jackie, because you could tell she just like wanted to do her best. She wanted to be the best Jedi ever.
Yeah.
I was so sad when she died. She seemed so pure.
I think that was part of my reason I was a little like, ugh, about the show too. It's just how many people you started to get to know and love, and then they just died immediately.
Was there something you didn't like about it?
So overall, I'm a Star Wars fan who likes pretty much everything. I just try to like everything.
You're like, I'm gonna take anything. Just
I just want more Star Wars, and I want them to take chances. I want them to try new things. I'm definitely, again, I was looking forward to seeing season 2 flesh out the story more and see
Did
where
they
it
ever
goes,
like
but
officially announce a season 2? Like plans for a season 2?
I mean, I had heard, I think even Leslie, the director, talked about having maybe multiple seasons of ideas that she had, and this show seemed like it could have been that, because it's such a new space to play within, like time-wise too. But we'll see. There's gonna be more Star Wars for sure, and I know they're just being very careful now with like doing Star Wars right, and they have to get favor back with the fans again, because as much as there are fans who love everything, there's this loud group of fans who don't like it, and they I think want everybody to be happy with Star Wars again.
Of course. I think the people working on the show all have the same passion. It seems like everybody that works for Star Wars has a passion for it and wants to put out good content, and unfortunately there are other variables in place that prevent them from doing so, whether it's time, money, resources. Hopefully, with these changes and this feedback, maybe that's going to put more pressure on the studios to say, let's slow down a little bit.
Yeah, that's what Bob Iger was talking about.
Yeah, let's slow down. Let's put more that time, energy, and resources into these shows to make sure that they're the best that they can be.
Yeah, because I mean, like we've even said, also it's been a time issue, but a lot of the TV shows, we really have not rewatched them like we rewatched the movies.
Have a lot of rewatchability, and that's what you want, especially with a streaming service, right?
Yeah, you want to keep people on there watching it over and over and over, and if you watch it and go, I'm done, they don't want people consuming content like that. They want to keep you on there rewatching things.
How many times have we put Star Wars, like either like Solo or A New Hope on repeat on the TV?
Because they're so enjoyable to just watch over and over again.
Yeah, we really haven't done that with any shows. I think we tried to do it with The Mandalorian season 1, and we couldn't even do that.
I don't know what it is about the shows. It's just, again, the pacing of how the stories get told. It's much different than a cinematic film, and it's not as easy to just pop in and watch quickly.
But then again, that's us. I don't know if any of you guys have rewatched any of the shows. Are there any that you like to have on the background or on repeat? Like, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah, totally. I mean, let us know generally your opinions on the current state of Star Wars and all the shows, like some of your favorites, anything. Just let us know in the comments below.
Without shutting other people down or being mean.
Yeah, and it'd be good if you guys can go through, read other people's comments as well, and maybe learn something, because I constantly have to go read other comments and get other opinions from people on Star Wars, because I miss things completely. Ashley tells me things all the time.
Do I?
Yeah, you teach me like that. Again, the whole thing, the religious aspect of the show, I just completely miss some of the deeper meanings behind it. But get different opinions from people and come to conclusions in that way. But engage with everybody else. That's what we're here to do in our community. Always Believe is a space family. Join our space family, join our flight crew, subscribe. We do a lot of fun things besides reviews like this. We actually go to Galaxy's Edge and Disney a lot and do a lot of fun playing Star Wars
Anything
stuff.
fandom related.
Yeah.
We love it. We're a couple geeks.
Yeah, and again, we have our own little Star Wars geek who we're raising right now. So that's the most exciting thing about Star Wars for us now, is raising our daughter in the world of Star Wars. So we want it to be positive for her.
We want it to be a fun environment for her, especially being, a female Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if she wants to be a Star Wars fan. We'll see. Right now she is, but
Yeah.
she's only been exposed to so much in this world.
It's true.
And she's surrounded by Star Wars at home, so
she's a fan.
It's kind of expected right now. When she chooses her own way, if she decides to be a Star Wars fan, hopefully it's a much more positive environment than it is right now.
Thank you for joining us again today, Flight Crew. Leave your comments below. We'll see you next time. Always believe.
Like and subscribe, or don't.
Or don't.
I'm not looking.
You must do it!
Wiggle. Oh, don't wiggle it. Brian, stop wiggling your lightsaber.